Welcome to the Windows Computer and Technology channel, and it's interesting to see all the comments. And we talked yesterday about the numbers. There's an interesting article today that I read from Paul Terod about how Panos Panay would hide in the numbers. If you guys remember, all of the wording when Windows 11 came out, and there would be an event, we'd have Panos Panay say, "Oh well, people are adopting Windows 11 at twice the rate of Windows 10." And so on. And, there's nothing to verify that. There are no hard numbers to see if it's true or not. I think all of us, especially the enthusiasts that we are, kind of figured out that it probably wasn't the case. And I mean, we have numbers that are, not always that accurate, but I think they're accurate enough. And the market share numbers we get from the different, metrics online, like stat counter and so on, aren't that far from reality. And there's a lot of talk about the number, like 400 million for Windows 11, and I got quite a few comments saying I don't believe that's true. And I'll tell you why it is. It is because when we look at the fact that there's probably more than a billion PCs, and if we look again at the hard number of 1.5 billion PCs, if we look at the fact that we're close to 25%, then we're not far from 400 million. So that is pretty clear that the number that they gave out is probably quite accurate. Yet, that said, it's not necessarily a good number when you consider that it took 1 year for Windows 10 to do the same 400 million. But the context is different. There's a minimum requirement on Windows 11 that makes it stops it from being updated for a lot of people, and that is an interesting thing that slows down basically Windows 11's adoption. When Windows 10 reached roughly 1 year after the release, roughly that 400 million. Windows 7 numbers were still very high. We're still at about 45-50% adoption rate, which was a lot still. But there's a sharp difference between what's happening now and Windows 7. Windows 7 was dropping quickly when Windows 10 released. We could see easily that the numbers were changing fast, and that Windows 7 was losing ground fast. Faced with Windows 10 that was really climbing fast. And that's a mix of all sorts of things. First of all, people wanting to move out of Windows 8, and people, of course, on Windows 7 knowing that we're getting close to the end and there is a free upgrade to Windows 10. Why not use it? And that all of that together is interesting. Of course, a lot of comments about people saying, well, I'm on Windows 10, I'm happy. And that's great. Just use it as long as you want, and as long as it's supported. You still have 2 years. Windows 11. Most people on Windows 11, I think, are happy with Windows 11. Once again, there's a lot of the comments that I see of, well, I wish I never had Windows 11 because I can't do this, or you're wrong. The reason I can't do this because Windows 11. And when you look at the details, it has nothing to do with Windows 11. Most of what people think is a problem with Windows 11 are actually simply you moved on to a new PC and it was just not configured the way you were on Windows 10. And it has nothing to do with the Windows. It has to do with you don't have the same thing installed. And it's not Windows that's the problem. But that's tough to understand for a lot of people because, what do I actually the separation of what is it that makes me do this in this way? Is it Windows or is it something that I got installed? And that is difficult to make a difference. And of course, there's a lot of the welcome Linux, and that comment is funny for me because anybody that does a lot of things on Windows, Linux is a non-starter. You do not go to Linux. If I had only Linux here, I'd be very, very sad. There's so many things that I do that I would not be able to do. And I think a lot of Linux users don't understand that. And a lot of Linux users actually don't do much. They don't understand that also. And it's not to bash Linux or say it's bad. It's just to tell everybody that always say, well, Linux is going to be king because of Windows. It's not. Because there's too many things you can do in Linux that you can only in Windows. And it's always been the case. It's why Windows is still dominant. That's got to be understood. So there's so many things like that, But it's interesting. It's interesting to see the comments, see the people, the direction. And, Windows 12, there's a lot of comments about the PC and how many PCs are going to be put to, that's always been the case. It's nothing different today than it was. And it's interesting to see that people talk about that when they when we don't actually realize that people are throwing away smartphones at a tremendous space when a lot of them could still be used. So, when I hear somebody says, well, look at all the e-waste that's going to happen, there's tons of e-waste anyway. And Windows 11 or Windows 12 for me is not making this worse. It's always been, and it will always be, unless we change so many things. It's true. I mean, there is a lot of waste, but it's always been. And once again, we are in a time when people are frustrated that they need to change their PC because of a new operating system, which was what we always did, and most people did for so many years before Windows 10. Windows 10 changed that and made a new PC world where your old hardware suddenly works even with the new thing. So, we got used to, it always works now and I can use my PC for 10 years. But it's interesting to see all the details around this. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for their comments. It's always fun to read the comments and see all the different levels of comments of different things around here. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.